Right, welcome to Wild, Wise and Curious, Sarah. It's really good to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much to both of you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you this morning.
We've been very excited about talking to you today, Sarah, so thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Lovely. How did you come to find that you were in perimenopause? What sort of symptoms were showing up for you, Sarah?
Yeah, it's a good question because I don't even know I knew if I realized what that word was, for a little while. Excuse me. I think it's a term I'm probably familiar with now, but at the time you're just living, aren't you? You're just, excuse me, living your life. In my 40s, I mean, I was a mother. I was a late mum. I very fortunate. My youngest son was born when I was 40, so I had quite a lot of hormonal rush, I guess, at that time, and very positive experience. It was a difficult pregnancy, don't get me wrong, but I felt euphoric at the end of it, to have my little boy. Um, but having said that, I think the menopause kicked in pretty radically afterwards. Um, if I just think back, to what was going on, I was having a kind of a crash. It felt like a crash after that, amazing pregnancy. And there was my beautiful third born son. And yet my body was crumbling, you know. So that was really hard to get my head round because
But also, Sarah, to untangle the fact that you just had a baby, so you've got all your hormones going crazy because of that, and then possible perimenopause as well. It's all interweaving, isn't it?
it,
Interweaving, interwoven. Doesn't matter.
it
We know what you
was.
mean.
I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't realize what was going on other than I had these symptoms. Like you mentioned about what were the symptoms, it was a lot of body aches and pains, but it was more than that. It was things like, hair falling out,
Yeah.
but more than just this was years after the birth of the baby. This was, more hair loss, more fatigue, uh, muscle loss, loss of strength, and of course, erratic periods, and they were getting heavier and heavier. And I was losing so much blood, and it was just like, wow, this is unmanageable at times.
Yeah.
And it became very difficult because I remember at that time, trying to work, and I'd almost be embarrassed to go into work if I was having a period because I knew I could be in a very awkward situation. Always had to carry an emergency pack of
Yeah.
stuff with me, and it just really exhausted me. I think it was enough symptoms to make me reach for help, and I'm not very good at that. So that's what I did. I started to get curious myself, and I wanted to know what on earth was going on because I needed to be a better mother. I needed to be able to cope. I've got two other older sons as well. So I needed to keep myself, strong and healthy and work. I've always worked. I've always been a mother that's worked. But I was struggling, struggling in my 40s with symptoms that I understand now were perimenopause, but at the time, I don't know if I was accepting that. I think that's quite hard to accept. You don't want to accept your aging, maybe. You
Yeah.
struggle with some of that. But I feel like I'm so grateful because I got help. I did manage to get help. And I'm also very grateful because I have a twin sister. And so she was also going through a lot. And at least I had someone to kind of compare notes with, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Talking to somebody, I think, is just having someone that you can kind of confide in and talk about. And if they're experiencing something, even if it's not exactly the same symptoms, it's something that's going on at the same time.
I think it makes it easier to figure out what's happening as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hugely. And do you know, I was talking to my twin before I came on here today, and we were both saying, we were chatting about our experiences. I mean, we're both 51 now, and I think we've been through the worst of it, but we're still dealing with, we're still dealing with symptoms. They're never, I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll ever go. I mean, I hope that they will get better, but I think we're still dealing with them. But she had what's called a menopause stop when, you literally, your ovaries just shut down, and she actually ended up having her ovaries removed. And actually, that was a bit of preventative medicine because our mother sadly passed away from ovarian cancer when she was in her 50s.
Right.
So, that's a big thing that I've always grown up with.
Yes.
You know,
Something
I
else that's
mean,
been
I was
mentioned.
young,
Yeah.
when I lost my mum to this horrible disease. And I think that sort of health of that part of your body, I'm actually grateful I'm living now, in here and now with a bit more awareness.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I think my mother's generation, they didn't have much choice. They didn't have it. They didn't have knowledge. I don't think my mum ever was offered HRT or,
Yeah. Well,
any
we've
sort
said
of
it quite
help.
often that a lot of the older generation just had to get on with it and suffer the consequences
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I think I've said it recently that they some of the older generation wonder what we're all talking about because they feel like they just sailed through it. But actually, on reflection, understanding that they did actually have quite a lot of symptoms that they didn't.
Put down to
Yeah,
being this.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to hear you say that because, because I didn't have my mother, I have all my nana, none of my older relatives. I didn't have those older influences, and that's been a bit sad. I haven't had that wiser. It's interesting, isn't it? Your podcast is about wiseness and being wiser as you get older. And I really relate to that. I think you do get wiser as you get older, and it's a privilege to get older, but
Yeah,
you just don't sometimes know where to turn. I'm lucky I've got a twin, so
yeah,
at least we're in it together.
Yes.
So knowledge is everything, isn't it? Once you know a bit more, you don't feel so scared. You think, oh, hang on, I can deal with this. Oh, what might help? What could I do to help myself? And that's, I guess, the journey I've been on in sort of 10, 11 years is trying to figure out what can help with some of those debilitating symptoms that I guess we all go through. It's interesting, isn't it, that we seem to, in this country, we do go through a lot in our culture. I think women do. Maybe more so than others. I don't know, but I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's the world over. There's challenges, but it does seem that there's a lot of stress and there's a lot on us as women,
yeah,
and there's no wonder. I think stress has a huge part to play in it,
yeah,
and
Yes, absolutely.
stressors of being in your 40s and into your 50s. There's a lot in that generation. you know, we're all doing a lot. We're looking after our families. We're helping our older parents if we're fortunate to have them. We're running jobs, running businesses.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow, we're trying to look after ourselves, aren't we? We're trying to be the best we can be. But we've lived through a lot in the last decade. I mean, sometimes I can't believe it. I look and I think, wow,
Yeah,
there's been so much in a decade.
Been so much. And it's tricky, isn't it, for people? And some people are having second jobs and third jobs because the cost of living crisis that's going on, and it all of that kind of filters into you as a person and becomes part of your how you present yourself and how you feel. And obviously that's all going to have a knock-on effect on your symptoms and how good you feel in the morning. It's there's just so much going on. You're right. You're so right. There's so much going on.
And I think it's interesting what you say about work, because for me, that this decade or the last 5 years in particular have been really about reevaluating how I work. when I work, what have I got to give, when can I give it?
Yeah.
And it's been interesting because I suppose I have got better at setting sort of boundaries, and that's, I suppose, why I love the work I do, because I've been able to create a life
Yes.
that's given me flexibility. But that's come because of maybe symptoms. You think about, where has it come from? Well, it's the need to be able to set my alarm a bit later in the morning, or I don't know, make sure I've got time to exercise, or, oh, I need to go and see a friend for a cup of coffee. I'm not going to apologize for that anymore.
No,
You
absolutely.
know, I think I've understood where the balance in my life needs to be a bit better. And therefore, I've created a business, a small business, but it is something I'm very proud of, around what I can manage, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does
Absolutely,
make
with all,
sense.
with all the scheduling and stuff. But take us back then, Sarah, because you said
Yeah,
the point at which you recognised that this was perimenopause, and you were recognising your symptoms, and you at that point you said you asked for help, and
yeah,
you got your twin sister that you were able to talk about it with.
yeah.
How else did you navigate that time?
It's a really good question. Well, like a lot of people, I probably went to my GP,
Yeah.
with varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
It eventually begged for, got some HRT. I mean, my goodness, that's a journey in itself,
Yes.
because I don't know about your experiences. I don't even know if either of you are on HRT, but I knew I needed some extra estrogen. I think it was fairly obvious that that was declining fast. So I I was lucky. I did get some GP advice and help. They didn't just fob me off, they did listen. And you know what? It's been a lot of trial and error. At times, I felt like giving up on the whole thing, because it's not been nice or pleasant. There's been loads of side effects, like really bad headaches. I was put on like estrogen gel, and then I might try a progesterone tablet,
Yeah.
but I got terrible headaches from it. So, you plow through, you push through. I mean, that's probably I guess the mantra of my life has never been giving up. I
No.
think that's our generation. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
Generation X is an extraordinary, resilient generation. I'm very proud to be part of it. So, so yeah, that was tough. Getting the right medication, it took months. I mean, crikey, years. I mean, I would say I've still adjusted, and I've only recently just adjusted another form of estrogen in form of a spray now, which is working because it's more absorbed, it's quicker absorption. I'm not faffing about with gel to dry for 10 minutes. I mean, it's just so difficult building these things into our lives.
But you raise a really important issue, though, Sarah, and it's something that I've gone through as well. Because when you were talking about the progesterone and giving you headaches,
Yes.
I had exactly the same
Yeah.
experience. So I recognise that I've been trying to sort myself out for the last couple of years, and I did the same as you. And I literally came off it because I thought it's not worth feeling like this. And
Yeah.
and then I get so far, and then I think, oh, Greg, I'm dipping, I'm really, really bad. Okay, let's try again. And then, so it's not easy, even if you decide to go down the HRT
No, it's
route.
not, is it?
It's finding that thing that works for you, and that can take, like you said, it can take years to work that out.
Yeah.
It's not a cure.
No, it's
It
not.
isn't. And it is difficult because you can hear different people around you. Some people are sailing through, some people are, oh, this is the best thing ever. And you're like, why is it not working for me?
Yeah.
And in the end, I gave up progesterone tablets and ended up having a coil fitted. And it's the best thing I ever did, even though that was mentally the hardest thing for me, to accept something foreign into my body. I didn't want to accept it. I was very nervous and scared about going through a procedure in hospital. But I thought, no, I've got to try, because I've got to try something else. this combination isn't working. So I was fortunate to be offered that as an option. I mean, I was scared, but I went through it anyway. And you know
Which
what? I
coil?
am
Sorry,
so
Sarah. Which coil did you have fitted?
I went for the Marina coil because
Nina.
that releases a bit of the progesterone in your weight where it's needed,
Yes.
rather than going up to your more your head and into your bloodstream here. It's more here. And for me, after a little while, that's been amazing. It's
How
just
long
sort
did that
of,
last for you?
well, I think it's 5 years you can
Five
have
years.
it in. So I'll have to have it out and be brave again.
Yeah.
And and then I'll have to make a decision, will I carry on? Will I just have it removed? I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I will come to that when the time is nearer. But for
So
now,
tricky.
it's holding me. It's keeping me
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
much less. My periods are much. I'm not overwhelmed with that. I I have less headache, and I am definitely a bit more energetic than I used to be. But then I look at my lifestyle, and that's massively changed.
Okay, so tell us a
So
little bit about
yes,
that,
go on.
Sarah.
Yeah, lifestyle's a massive thing. Things that have helped, things like exercise. I mean, I wasn't a huge exerciser. And it's funny, I think I had the peak of my exercise years were in my 40s, my early 40s, just before I had Rowan, my youngest. And I'd done a 10K run, and I was so proud of that because I'd never done anything like that. It was my husband that got me into running. But then it was quickly apparent when I was going through my latter 40s, and even now, I just can't run because even when I run, the recovery period is excruciating. So I can run, but then I'm literally probably paralyzed with muscle pain for days afterwards. So
Okay.
I've realized whatever I do, however much stretching I do, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I've had to learn to adapt. What can I do? What exercise helps and what makes it worse? So actually, and it's corny, but I love Pilates because that's been the one thing that's kept me sane in the last few years, is just having peace and, balance within your body, stretching. I mean, that's been vital. And do you know what? I'm grateful for my sister. She pings me over. We share little YouTube clips in the mornings. We just do 10-minute
Yeah.
workouts in the mornings, and we're always geeing each other on.
That's amazing.
So I absolutely advise those 10-minute little workout things.
Yeah.
Just, don't have to cost you anything. They're
Yeah.
just free. They're out there. Just go and get one. They're
Nice
brilliant.
having a cheerleader as well, isn't it? Someone who can
Yeah.
bring things over and
Yeah.
say, "Let's do this one," or
Yeah.
which one are you doing this morning?
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that because that's someone, if I didn't have my sister, maybe naturally I wouldn't do that as much because I don't think I've never been the best sports person in the world. I was always last picked in the teams. I'm
Same
not,
here.
I'm not brilliant at sport, but I can hold my own, things like tennis and things like, but I'm not. It's not always been my go-to. I'm a very cerebral person, I'm a thinker. That's been my life. I'm a poet at heart. I am an internal person. I'm quite a quiet person. I don't need a lot of, yeah, I get different things out of life. So to exercise and move my body is something I forget to do, but I must do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned. You must do things, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I feel that my relationship with movement has completely changed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
certainly now I'm doing yoga regularly.
Oh, that's amazing.
Even if I don't do everything, because I do it online, so no one can see what I'm doing, even if I just get myself on the mat, and just take that time, I kind of congratulate myself for even getting on the mat. But yeah, I'm realizing that I am paying more attention to what feels good and what my body needs. Whereas I've never done that before. I've always tried to push myself so hard and try and do everything that the instructor's doing and do it to the best of my ability. So I'm feeling like I've done some exercise. Whereas I don't do that now. I'm like, oh, actually, I need a bit more of that. I'll spend a bit more time here. And I feel like I'm listening a lot more than I ever have done before.
Do you know, that's so lovely, isn't it? That listening. And I don't know about you guys, but I've found one of my weird symptoms of menopause has been acute, heightened awareness to sound. So listening, I mean, it's something I've really noticed. So I'm quite sensitive to sound as I got a bit older. But that's a good thing because you listen more in a way, and it's good that you can if you can just internalize a little bit, just to notice, as you said, oh, that's hurting today. Oh, that's really tight. Or that's a funny bit. What do I need to do? Do you know? Do I need to have a hot bath? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to stretch? You know, just being aware
Yeah.
and then doing something for yourself, like just a couple of minutes. Doesn't have to be much, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's really good to
And
try.
I think it's part of as well. You were talking about it, Sarah, earlier about creating this life where you're listening a bit more to what you need. And
Yeah.
I think that's really important for us as
It is
women,
really important,
because
isn't it?
I don't want to sound like I'm on my soapbox a little bit, but it's fitting into this world of going out and working and then coming home and sorting everybody out, and it just feels like it's very much on the grind. And I've realised that since I'm living in a different way, life seems a lot easier. So much like you, I'm able to juggle my own diary.
Yeah.
And it makes so much difference. You know, now it's a non-negotiable about me going for taking the dog for a walk every morning or doing the yoga in the morning. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's a non-negotiable. I have to do it. And if I don't do it, I don't feel well. You know, in
Yeah.
the long term. So it's really
Good.
important. It makes such a difference.
It does make a lot of difference. I mean, I'm the other end of the scale right now because I'm working. I work part-time, so it's 3 full days,
Yeah.
days, and I'm doing a PhD part-time, and also obviously we do the podcast, and then same as you, I've got 3 boys and a dog, and everything else, and so I'm really kind of striving to hit that kind of balance and calm and listen. But I feel quite often that I'm on a treadmill and that it's not slowing down. And so I will miss my yoga class, or I will miss walking my dog, or I will, just because I just need to stop and breathe, when actually it's probably walking the dog or going to the yoga class that would buy me that bit of time.
So what do you
tricky.
do then to kind of mitigate that a little bit?
Well, I do walk the dog, but I love to read and to listen to books on Audible, but also cacao. That's really nice. So you know, I'll sit and have a cacao. Well, I haven't done since before Christmas, but I'm slowly, steadily kind of ditching the artificial rubbishy sugar and chocolate, and moving back into sort of like wellness and looking after myself. But I've got to be really honest, I think I'm finding it really quite tough at the moment to juggle all of those things. You know, one of my sons was 21 this week, we've got a party tonight, and so that's all been boom, 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 boom. So everything, and then my youngest is 16 next month, and it feels like while they're all wonderful celebrations, they're like other things that you have to kind of think about and make sure that you put them at the top of the list and everything. So it's just been lots and lots of things going on, and
so grabbing those moments in between is becoming quite important.
Yeah, really important. So yesterday I took one of my sons to the hairdressers. I said to Lou last night, you know, oh my God. So the hairdresser was half an hour late in doing my son's hair. And we actually had a podcast last night, and and it was fine. I got here on time, but the fact that the hairdresser was half an hour late and was kind of a bit flippant, like, thanks for waiting. And I was like, oh, I could have had half an hour to have gone for a really nice walk, or I should have bought my book. I thought we were going to be in and out. And I just felt like that half an hour made me feel quite grumpy because
Your
I
time
could
is
have done,
precious.
because my time is so precious
Yeah.
at the moment.
Sure,
So it's,
sure.
we do have to grasp those moments of calm.
We do. And do you know what? You've just got to, I think I relate to everything you say there, always juggling so much with my three beautiful boys. I'm very lucky.
Absolutely the same here.
Very
Really gorgeous.
blessed. It's hard, but they're at different life stages, and it's not like you just because they're in their 20s doesn't mean you suddenly turn off your
Oh, goodness.
mum chip. You are concerned, you have interest in their lives, you want to be involved. It's a lovely relationship. Your relationship develops a lot in your 20s. I think they learn to see you in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite nice because in the case of my eldest son, they've left home. So if I want to see them, I have to, they have to seek me out. We have to make a plan.
Yeah.
And that's quite nice. But I think I just wanted to pick up on a point you said about, forgetting, in the busyness of life. I think people do forget
Yeah.
that women often put themselves, it's like you're filing it through your head. Oh, that'll have to wait. Oh, the dog walk. Well, I'll have to do that later. Oh, I'll have to go to the, I don't know, beauticians. That's not important. Or that doesn't matter. Or whatever it is that you love doing, you just let it go because that person's more important. Oh, I better go and make sure, I don't know, my son's birthday party's all sorted, and oh, I need to make sure I've got I don't know, the guests or the presents ready or whatever it is that you're doing. And so I think I hear that a lot, in my professional life.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just reminding yourself that those small things do matter
Yes.
and that you find ways to put them in
Yeah.
Yes.
somehow.
Yes.
Just little tiny 10 minutes. I actually put them in my diary. Things like
I think that's a great
do
idea.
Pilates.
Yeah.
And I actually say
brilliant.
that's blocked in my diary now. I never would have done that five years ago, but it's like I'm telling myself,
You are doing it.
do this. I've had to get much tougher on myself.
I think you do. I think you really have to get tough, especially when you've got a really busy lifestyle. And it's not that you kind of necessarily want that busy lifestyle. But then I also know in my instance, I've brought it upon myself because I've chosen to go back to university and do the extra studies. And we're also very passionate about talking to other women like you with the podcast. So you're bringing all these wonderful experiences into your life. But they are busy. They're kind of busy experiences, aren't they? And, it's just kind of you're what you said about, just carving that bit of time. I did actually go yesterday. I've got a sister. I'm very close to my sister.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. And so yesterday we did take a couple of hours. We both kind of went, right, that's it. We went for a beautiful walk out in the countryside and grabbed a, hot chocolate with oat milk.
Lovely.
And just had a lovely walk in the countryside and along the canal. And, the weather was crappy, but we both said, who cares? Put your hat on, pull your hood up. And it's just so lovely to...
But you see, that's the right attitude. It's in your mind, because your attitude was strong. It doesn't matter about the weather.
Yes.
Now, you'll be surprised how many people say completely the opposite in their head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining, I can't do anything today. And for me, self-care, it starts here.
Yes.
Self-care starts in the mind. And that's why I got so curious about the mind, because for me, busyness, if you're not careful, busy brains, they just burn out.
Yes.
So that's, you've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
You can be busy, but are you being productive?
Yes.
And,
And it's a
you
fine
know,
line to tread, isn't it?
it's hard. And actually, if you look behind the neuroscience of the brain, you begin to understand that it doesn't thrive so well, actually, when it's always got conscious concern
Yes.
in it.
Yeah.
So this is what we have to learn as women, that always looking ahead, always planning the next thing. That's kind of what we do, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
thinking about the consequences.
thinking about the
Yeah.
future.
Yes, and everybody else and how they're going to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we do. We
But
do.
it's what we do, but it's not always good for here because the brain actually needs more reward. It needs to feel that's something it can't cope with so much because it's uncertain, and the brain hates uncertainty. So, what you've got to find is the balance of things that you have got some control over that balances it out. So, that's why those 10 minutes, whatever it is so important because it helps your brain just go into a slightly different state
Yeah.
so that you're not concerned about the future. Your
Yeah.
brain is more here and now. So, actually, it's really important for brain health and anxiety that you're not always worried about the next thing, the next thing. You need to find ways to ground yourself in the here and now.
And create
Yes.
space and time in your day, because we've talked about this as well, haven't we? Like for creativity, because
creativity,
when you've not
yeah.
got space, if you've got no space in your brain, how can ideas come? And
Yeah,
and
well,
that
we were
kind
having
of-
this conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, creativity, I guess, with my PhD, it's a creative PhD, so I write.
Oh, how lovely.
writer.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. So actually, although I know I've got to do these things, a big chunk of the PhD is creativity and writing stories and that sort of thing. So
Wonderful.
that is beautiful. That's lovely. That's me in my little bliss bubble of just
in your element.
in my element. And so actually that's probably, it's not like I'm doing a statistics or an economics or something like that PhD, which is wonderful for anyone who's doing it, but I just couldn't cope with.
You need that space to be able to.
But you're right, yeah, I do.
Process
I do.
the ideas
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's when. So when I go for the walk in the morning, that's when ideas. When I'm trying to piece things together so I'm doing a masters. Michelle's ahead of me, so I'm trying to piece ideas together, and I'll come home and then I'll start writing. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I had not got the space to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Really
And
important.
it is important. And time, we've all had that moment, haven't we, where we've probably sat in front of the laptop, you've got a deadline, things have to happen, and it feels like you're kind of stuck. You get frustrated, a bit angry, you just have to walk away eventually. Because I think you can almost notice yourself when you're not being very creative or you're just plodding. I think you notice it more.
Yes, you do.
And I mean, that mind fog, I think brain fog is a symptom I hadn't talked to you about much, but I think, for me, that was a sign. I'm quite a wordy person. My whole life is words.
Yeah.
And I remember a few years ago, I was struggling with some words. I was like forming sentences and I was going, oh, that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That thing over there. Oh, what's the word for that? And that would really bother me because I've always used words like yourself. I've done a lot of literature, I was a literature graduate. I've written all my life, and I was like, what is going on? Why haven't I got that clarity? And so there's a few things I've done to try and improve that and think about that. In when does that show up? Like you said earlier, like noticing it.
Yes.
What do I need to do to make sure I'm in tip top, better health, so I'm not losing those words. I mean, I don't think I don't know if it'll ever be 100% what I was, but that's part of it, is learning to accept you're
Yeah.
a different person now.
Yeah.
And it's okay, it's okay the person you are now. In fact, actually, look in the mirror and be grateful and say, well, thanks, you've got me here,
Indeed.
I think I do that a bit more. I think I'm a bit more like that now, a bit more kind of, more prouder of where I'm at, not and what I've survived,
Yes.
rather than yearning for some younger self. I'm very happy that this is where I'm at, even though it's a hard, it's not always easy some days.
No.
I'm still grateful that I've got this perspective
Yeah.
and a little bit more bravery and confidence to show up a bit more.
We've said the same about this time in life. I wouldn't go back. Don't get me wrong, when I was in the throes of it, when it was really tricky and tough,
Yeah,
at that point you kind of think, what the hell is happening? But now I feel like the world is starting to, or the world has opened up again, and there are things that that I feel really passionate about wanting to do and experience. And we've done loads of things, haven't we?
I think we've got braver.
Brave, yeah, absolutely
Haven't we?
braver.
We've got
more
brave
confident
with
and
the choices that we've made,
Yes.
and what we're doing, and we're just chasing things that make us like
happy
give
and
us
fill
a
us up.
spark.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just not being, being brave, not being so scared to look daft or, or look at ourselves and go, oh my God, or listen to ourselves on a podcast and go, oh my God, what do we sound like? Let alone on a YouTube, oh my God, what do I look like? We've kind of just gone, do you know what? Just do it. Just
What's the worst that
do
can
it.
happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah. I like that attitude. I think that's really impressive, and I hope other women, start to feel like that, because I know you can feel the polar opposite. I do. I think we all get that, don't we? The three of us sound like we've been through the highs and the lows, and I know when I was going through the low times, I mean, I would kick if people said to me on 10 years ago, you'll be sitting here with a new business, with a new, I've moved house last year, I've changed my environment. I've I am looking to the future,
Yeah.
with more confidence, because I guess I believe more in myself because I've survived a really tough decade. And it has been a tough decade for lots of reasons. So I don't know. Sometimes I think sometimes the economic climate, the world around me doesn't necessarily reflect some of that optimism. I think things can seem quite gloomy
Yes.
in the news and around us.
Yeah.
But actually, if you look in the real world at local businesses, local experiences, I've been blown away by it. There's loads going on for example, in my industry, in well-being.
Yes.
There's loads going on locally, and
We're
there's a
very
huge
here as well.
appetite
We went
for
to
health.
a session on Saturday, didn't we? Ecstatic dance. And I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just joyous.
Just moving your body,
Moving
isn't it?
your body
Without worrying
and,
about what anybody else is thinking.
Yeah, and moving your body with your eyes closed. And is it somatic where you do all the sort of
Shaking
shaking,
your body, yeah.
shaking all
Wonderful.
of the yucky stuff, and and then sort of like having a bit of a meditation at the end. And it was just, just kind of going along and doing more of these things. And we're in Leicestershire, and there is like people who say, oh, Leicester, but there are always gems. There are so many wonderful things to do here. We could be busy all day, every day with doing gorgeous things if we had the time and if we had the money.
Yeah, well, sure.
Yeah, we've got an incredible community.
We have got a great
people.
community,
Yeah.
and so we're doing a lot of leaning into that because I don't know. There's
That's
just
what's helping fill our cup.
absolutely filling our cup, and also it's that thing of thinking, okay, because Lou and I both turned 50 last year.
Yes.
And it's a case of thinking, well, okay, we've had the first 50 years. Let's bring on the next 50 years. We've got a whole new life to live. There are so many experiences that we've never had, so many amazing people that we've yet to meet, and so much kind of love and conversation to share that, I think the future is exciting. But as you say, if you tuned into the news and everything that was on social media, it could very, very easily plummet you.
Yeah, you'd be the opposite.
Definitely. So, I mean, I never tune into the news. It's just something I haven't done for years and years.
No, I think your mindset is so important at this point in your life. And I mean, it is a bit people talk about, I mean, I guess my whole ethos is about positive. That is, I suppose it is very personal to me. When I started my own journey, I mean, obviously I'm a hypnotherapist, and that's part of what I talk about is a lot of, positive reflection and positive, um, influence on your life, and casting a positive lens,
Yes.
not only on the world around you, but internally as well. And there's a lot of people, some people might think, oh, that's just woo woo nonsense. But, there's good reasons you have to think a little bit more positively. Because if you always negatively think and negatively introspect and negatively forecast, your brain will always be anxious
Yes.
because that's where the brain takes you. So you've got to be careful. There are reasons why positivity and having an optimistic outlook really matter. But you see, sometimes that's very hard to feel that. You don't
Yeah.
you you don't realize it, but your negative self has kind of got more engrossed in it, and you can feel very helpless. You can feel like this is never going to get better. But the good news is there are little things you can do to help the more positive self, this bit, take over. So actually, I highly encourage people to understand that, the workings of the brain, so that you understand why positive attitude matters. It's much more than just thinking positively. It's actually releasing the right neurotransmitters in your brain.
Yes.
So, what?
If you see what I'm saying, it's a different reason to think like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was your curiosity in how you were feeling and what you were going through, is that what led you then to go into this new?
Massively,
Yeah.
because high anxiety was one of the more pronounced symptoms. I think naturally you do get more anxious I mean, I think the world had got more anxious through COVID, and then those sort of coming out of COVID. I mean, in my own instance, one of my children was very poorly in those years. So because of that, I mean, I'm very poorly. So because of that, he was in and out of hospital for several years. And because of that, my brain had got into a highly anxious state.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and I think we can all get there because, that feeling when you're going to bed thinking about a problem, you're getting up in the morning and you're thinking about that problem. That's when your brain is overwhelmed, and you don't mean it to happen. It just happens because too much stress, uncertainty, if you like, has crept in.
Yeah.
Particularly when you're a mother, because you just want your children to be safe and well. Those are the overriding mantras of your life.
Of course they are.
Lay your life down for your child. So when your child's that poorly and you don't know if they're going to recover, you go into that hyper vigilant sort of lioness within you kind of rises up.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely what happened in my 40s is, going along perimenopause, but also caring for a member of my family that was really poorly. And I needed to show up, needed to advocate for them. I needed to speak for them. I needed to guide them. I needed to literally look after them. And then that was my beginning of my journey with getting extra help. I mean, you talked earlier about where did I get help?
Yeah.
I got complementary help.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I got help from the GP, but I also got help from a very good friend of mine who was a trained hypnotherapist. And honestly, 5 or 6 sessions with her were phenomenal. They just helped so much during a very turbulent time of my life. And I think that was something I did want to sort of say today is how important it is to reach out if you are absolutely at crisis and you are, you've lost hope and you think this is never going to get better. I just want you to hold on and remember there will be and there can be help. You've just got to have a belief and faith to give yourself that little bit of support. Um, I mean, the hypnotherapy is not for everybody. It's one tool. It's
Yeah.
one, but what it does is it allows your conscious mind to let go a bit from your conscious concern and just to drift off. That's very helpful for the subconscious part of you. That's the bit that's always worrying. So that's why I loved it. And it really helped me at that time. And that was a pivotal moment. I mean, I didn't know it then, I didn't know that was going to be a pivotal moment.
But much
But
like you were saying, we were saying earlier about the finding the right HRT is going through
Mm,
things. Finding the right help in even in complementary therapies, it's about building the tools in your toolbox,
Of
isn't
course
it?
it is.
Lots of
Yes.
different. So I use lots of different things as well. I use aromatherapy and qigong and all these kind of things to help me
yeah,
stay sane.
Yeah.
But it's finding those things that work because they won't work for everybody. But you
no.
had a really good experience with hypnotherapy as well, didn't you?
Hypnotherapy, yeah. I mean, hypnotherapy, I think, pretty much kept me going. The listeners are probably bored to death of hearing me say, but I had really bad anxiety and panic attacks and irrational thoughts, and
Yeah.
it was the most frightening thing ever that I've ever experienced. And I really did not know what was going to happen to me. So I went to see a hypnotherapist who I'd met before, and different members of my family and friends had worked with her before. And I was going to see her once, sometimes twice a week, because I was in such a bad way. And I must have gone to see her for about 9 months. And at that point, I kind of thought, right, okay, there is still something. I'm still feeling all of these feelings. What happened then was, in a nutshell, over about 6 or 7 months after that, I went on to HRT. And after the HRT, estrogen, progesterone, and then testosterone was added in, all of the panics and anxiety and everything went away. But what I think happened is where the hypnotherapy was absolutely profound for me was that we went through so many different things that perhaps triggered me through life or upset me through life, or instances that, for example, I was always really anxious about getting on an aeroplane. I'd had one bad experience when I was abroad once, and it made me anxious ever going on a plane and ever going away from this country. None of those things now, I'm not bothered about any of them. So while the HRT has massively helped me to iron out the hormonal side, the hypnotherapy that I had with this wonderful hypnotherapist I feel like I've been cleared out of any
Mm.
baggage or any crap, for want of a better word, that was holding me back.
That's so
So,
lovely to hear.
yeah, I mean, I can cry. I actually feel a bit
Yeah, well,
emotional right now.
Yeah.
it is hugely
Oh my
powerful.
God, it was massive, massive.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got the support you needed at that time.
Yeah,
And that's part of it, isn't it? Just finding the right person, the
yeah,
right relationship.
that's it.
It is hugely humbling in my line of work to be able to help people who are going. I mean, I've sat in the chair. I've sat in both chairs now,
Yes, yeah,
but it's privilege because 5 years on from that moment, I am more in balance. I've got more positivity, more hope, more confidence. And a lot of that is to do with what I've learned, and my practice, helping others actually helps you as well. It's,
yeah.
it's a funny thing. There's a very sort of symbiotic sort of relationship with that. So there is benefit to finding things that help these amazing brains of ours. And I don't know if we ever really thought of that in those terms when we were growing up and all the things that we've been through in our lives. But maybe as we're getting aware, maybe as we're getting older, we're beginning to understand this is so important, isn't it? This part of us. And maybe it's getting a bit more understood now. There is a lot more education out there. And I'm glad to see it because it's filtering through more in our society now, isn't it? Where the debate is raging. We know we've got this whole should we or should we not ban social media for our children. There's all these debates that are here because of what it's doing here. So, you're not alone. None of us are alone in this, and that's that's what's so comforting, I think, talking to you both today, is that you're realizing that we're all of us in our 50s, 40s, 50s. It's very relatable, isn't it? What we're kind of all going through.
It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that, well, the whole reason that we started the podcast was because of Luz and myself, because of our experiences in perimenopause. But what we've found as we've kind of gone on and spoken to some amazing women like you, Sarah, who have kind of like transformed themselves during this period because they've had to work out what works for them, and they've had to solve riddles and puzzles and all manner of things to just kind of find balance. But I think sometimes going into the darkness and pulling out that little bit of light and kind of shining it out there on the world as well, it kind of like, you know, it makes other people not feel so alone. And, you know, the whole thing, like talking to you now and what you were just saying about sitting in both chairs in your work,
Yeah.
sitting here across from you and sitting across from all the other women, we feel like we both learn so much, don't we?
Yeah.
And we kind of come away going, I want to do that. I want to see her again. I want to, you know, and I'm not thinking, I definitely need 10 minutes every morning. I definitely need 10 minutes every morning.
But it's personal as well, though, Sarah, isn't it? You know, when you've gone through this journey, and you know how it feels, and you know how transformative that was for you, and then look how you've then gone on and trained, and that in itself, in later years, training in something completely new is incredible.
It is, yeah.
I mean, education is a privilege, and I think that's something that's so nice to hear you're both pursuing that, because I guess you've got to give yourself permission to do that when you're a bit older, because I guess I was older. I was 40, 48, you know, and I got so interested in, because I wanted to know more about mental health, okay, because I wanted to help understand what could I do to further support my son, because his illness was a mental health illness, and I wanted to understand it more. So that's why I got so curious, because I didn't feel I had enough knowledge. Now, that's what us mums are brilliant at, isn't it? We want to find out. And that's what led me. And thank goodness I'm very fortunate. I have a supportive husband who gave me permission, like between us, we discussed, could I take a leap of faith, leave my career of 25 years. Now, I've been doing marketing communications for 25 years. I was very competent at it, very good at it, but it wasn't floating my boat anymore.
Lighting that fire.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was doing it for everyone else. I was doing it for other people, not for my own inner self. And things that I went through with my lovely son, I think I just stopped. I had to stop because my son was so ill. He needed care and help. So when you've been in that place and you've put your other self just goes. It's like, work, what's work?
Yes.
What's
That doesn't
important?
matter.
Yeah.
So when you've been in that place and you know what it's like, I guess all of us have moments in our life where we have to show up for other people. So that was pivotal. It was like, right, I've got to relearn. I'm not going to go back. When my son was a bit better and life had emerged and things had changed again, there was a time I thought I need to go back and I've got to do something different. I can't. That doesn't resonate with me anymore.
No.
So finding purpose is a very precious thing, when you find it.
Yes.
And I came quite late to it, but it'd always been there. When I went into that room of other trainees, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I've found my tribe of people.
Yeah.
My people.
Oh, that's such a glorious feeling when you feel that, when you feel like you're actually in the right place.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, hello, where have you all been?
Yeah.
And I've made some amazing friends through that experience. I mean, when I was learning, frankly, I was being a bit selfish because I was trying to understand if it's something that could help my son. But actually, I realised it was so much more than that as I was going through it. And I thought, it's a lifestyle shift. And that's what it was. It was a complete lifestyle shift. So I started to follow the principles of it a lot more, and that's what led to permission, please, to start something tiny. And I just, you start really small with business when you've got an idea,
Yeah.
and that's how it started, really small, and it kind of grew from there.
Then
So
it's doable though, then, isn't it? When you're starting small and you're learning and you're still growing
yeah,
personally as well as professionally, and then it all starts to grow small but organically, and then
yeah.
it feels like it's going in the right direction. It sounds incredible,
It does.
Sarah.
It does.
Well, bless you for saying that. I'm grateful for what it's helped with me with, but I'm also grateful that I get to spend a bit more time now, on my terms with my son. If my son needs me, if my other son, I've got a younger son who's now nearly 12, if he needs me to be there after school, I can be there. And then
Yes.
okay, I might go and work a bit in the evening, but that's my choice. I can flex my life around him, and they're still the most important things.
Oh, I think they'll always
Yeah.
be. I think we're all mums of three.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't realise that. That's
Yes, it's
very
funny, isn't it? We
interesting.
do talk to a lot of women that have got three,
Yeah,
three
we do.
children.
I don't know what that's about.
I have no idea.
Three's the magic
No idea.
number.
It is. It is. Yeah. But yeah, I think they'll always be the top of our lists
Yeah, of course,
forever.
without a doubt. Yeah.
But it's nice now to be in a place where you put yourself close second.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? I was thinking about what you were saying about that, and what is my 50s? It's interesting, isn't it? Beginning of this year, we're in 2026, and a lot of people ask you, don't they, where are you going with this year? What are you doing with it? And I keep thinking, well, just more of the same, really. Just
Yeah.
just
That's
Yeah.
what I
exactly
did
right.
last year.
Motto,
That's
isn't
what
it?
we said.
We had a wonderful year last year, and if it's anywhere near last year, then wonderful.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Open to whatever
Yeah.
might come.
Yeah, say yes to some of the things that before you might have been a bit more like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I'm saying yes to things I never thought I'd be doing. I was just speaking to a lady yesterday. I did a strategy session about I'm doing a big speaking event in May at a big mental health and wellbeing show, and I never thought I would do that.
Yeah.
If you'd said to me 5 years ago, I would laugh at you.
Yeah.
But there I am. I'm on the website, got my speech ready. I'll go, and
Fabulous.
I want to tell the story, that the stories that you go through. I think that's being very female as well. You have a story you want to share, and maybe if you share it with other women, that's quite nice because it helps them understand their own experience. Perhaps we get strength from other people. Perhaps we get guidance
Yeah.
from other women.
We learn
Yeah.
about ourselves by listening
Yeah.
to others, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
So I think you're both got you're very aligned with how I think about the world. To find confidence, to be grateful. I mean, when I was thinking about this menopause word, because I've been thinking about it a lot, I don't even know if I am. Do you know that's the weirdest thing is I don't know if I'm if I'm
I
menopause.
know this
I
is
don't
a
know.
Oil.
yeah.
Yes.
It's really
Yeah.
tricky. Isn't it?
Don't know.
I went through a phase. Was it last year? And I had about 9 months with no period. And then all of a sudden it came back, and I had about three on over 3 months, and then it's gone away again now for about 5 or 6 months. But because I'm on HRT, I don't mind handing my hand up. I'm confused. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I'm not menopause. I'm not in menopause or postmenopause because I've only gone sort of 6 months. But I think it's tricky to kind of to understand, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Even when you're swamped with everything peri and menopause and everything, it's
Just
still
constantly waiting for that 1 year mark.
yeah.
Not had a period. But like you say, if you're not getting periods anyway because of the coil,
Then how do you know
you're not
anyway?
getting
You don't
that.
really know. And I think that is something, I guess. I mean, we talked about kind of leaning I mean, I like that phrase, leaning into your 50s. And I
Yes.
guess that will just be the journey I'm on, you know,
Yes.
and I guess like I've approached these years, I'll just take it one step at a time,
Yeah.
one day at a time. I mean, that's all any of us can do. You can't,
And it's a
Absolutely.
good mantra, isn't it?
yeah,
Rather than thinking about all the things that are coming up, you just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, because you don't know how you're going to feel from one day to the
No, you
next,
don't.
and it's just being. I mean, I've learned to be a lot kinder to myself now.
Yes.
You know, on the days that I do wake up and think, I don't know if I can manage the world today.
Yeah.
I am a lot kinder to myself. I am able to take things out of my diary or whatever, or slow things down for the day, knowing that if I do that, then tomorrow it's likely I'm going to feel a lot better for it.
yeah. And I totally relate to that. So I'm always a bit more like, oh, I can see 3 clients today, but no more. I
Yeah.
can do this today, but no more. And there's a cut-off point, and that's okay. It sits okay with me,
Yeah.
you
It
It
does
know.
for
is
me
okay.
now. Yeah.
Because it is okay, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Different. I mean, obviously, running your own business and it's very different to being employed. You know, it's a different thing, and it's yeah, I have many hats. You know, I have that therapist me, but I'm also a businesswoman. I'm still a mum. I'm still a wife. Still a sister. Still an auntie.
Yeah.
There's lots going on
Of course.
in my life. Um, but I'm very pleased to have a little business because it gives me independence. The
Yes.
little bit of yeah, it's just like a baby. It's like another baby that you've
Yeah.
created.
Yeah.
You want the best for it. You're grateful to have it. So
Yes.
you just want it to kind of, I suppose, you're just grateful for it to be there
Yeah.
for the
Absolutely.
moment. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it. But I'm not ready to talk about retirement yet, so that won't
Oh
happen for a
no,
little
no, no.
while.
I don't know about you, Sarah, but I've completely. I mean, I'm retraining. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of retraining.
wonderful.
The reason I'm doing that is because I want a job that I don't want to retire from.
Yeah.
I want a job
Yeah,
that I can continue doing for as long as possible.
When you're not going
yeah,
to work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
you know, and that's my intention. I finally found something that I think I'm going to be good at and that I want to
Yes.
do, and I feel like I'm in the right place.
That sounds great.
So yeah, why would I want to think about retirement? I want to
Yeah.
be responsible.
I don't think of it as work now. I think of it's a life now. I've got a
Yeah,
different
it's a
life. You
lifetime.
Yeah,
It
know,
really
I
is.
was fortunate. I was able to create a little garden, like therapy room last year,
Oh,
in my garden. So it's completely changed how I work, what I do. It's a much more relaxed space. You know, it's a space in a garden. It's got no Wi-Fi allowed in it. It's very
fantastic.
off
oh,
grid, you know.
Yes.
And I love that. And I think that's the benefit I hope it gives my clients is a space, a peaceful space for them to retreat a little bit from the busyness of their lives. And I love it because I just go and sit out there and read a book or
yeah,
listen to the birds. I'm grateful for that little space. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because that space of your own, I don't know, when I was at uni, I studied literature and I read the works of Virginia Woolf, and she wrote a book about a room of one's own. She called that space. So if you're a writerly person, you need it. You need a
yeah,
space. Well, frankly,
yeah,
even if you're not a writer, you
yeah.
need a metaphorical space of your
You
own.
do. You do. You
Absolutely.
do.
It's really
And I think
important.
It is
that's
really
important.
important.
Mm.
It is.
A little bit of that is something you shouldn't. Yeah, you should try to find in your life if you're able to.
Yeah.
So don't feel guilty about it because actually, if you can restore yourself more, you then help others more.
That's it. You can show up for
Yeah.
everybody else.
You can't do it if you're completely
Mm.
overwhelmed yourself. And it's quite easy for the human brain to get overwhelmed. So
Yes.
you've just got to kind of find your peace with what is okay for you. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. That's been a big change in my life. It's taken me all my working life to get here.
Mm.
Every you know, and I've worked consistently since I was 16 years old. You know, I've never stopped working.
But you brought all those skills
All of it's
alongside.
come into play.
Yeah,
All of it is what is part of me now.
indeed.
And I think, wow, you know, I'm lucky. I got this chance. I'm alive, you know, I'm lucky. And I want to, I guess I think about my mother a lot, and I think about she sadly didn't get a life beyond 59. So for me, there's that little bit there on the horizon, and I'm kind of like doing this for you, Mum. You know,
Yeah.
I want to get beyond. I want to feel into my 60s.
Yes.
I want to see my grandchildren,
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of, I think your life experiences feed into you so much. But that's how I feel about this period of my life.
Wow. It's been
Yeah.
incredible.
It has been
Sarah.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's been really inspiring as well. I feel
Yeah.
like there's lots of things I want to sort of like add in now that are calming, and I don't know, that are going to sort of just slow me down a little bit.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah,
It-
I've really
It's so
enjoyed that.
lovely
It's
to
been so
hear
good to
your
talk to you.
journey, Sarah,
Yeah, it really has.
and it's
Thank you.
really inspiring that
Thank
way
you.
that you've you know, managed to pivot and change
Yeah.
direction and make
Yeah.
it work for your
I mean, at the
family.
time you go through it, you don't realize it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
You don't know, but you just put a foot in front and you think, hang on, there's a bit of an idea. This
Yeah.
is giving me more joy. It's giving me more purpose. Okay, what if, what if
Let's just
I,
follow that
I
a
go
little
with
bit.
it
See
and
where
I
it
just
takes you.
forget all the 100 reasons not to do it? And
Yes.
that's where I was at. I think I had nothing to lose at that point, and
Yeah.
I'd let go of my old self, as in my business, because I had another business. I was a perfectly competent marketer, but I let go of it and I needed time with my family, and that was a really important time in my life. It's
Yeah.
very precious.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that time. It was tough, but I needed to show up 100% as a mother in those years. And then there was a bit when, things were getting a little bit better and there was a bit more recovery, and I'm so lucky that my son he's fortunately has recovered very, very well, and he's living a good life. But it's taken 5, 6 years of a whole community getting him
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
And I think it's changed him and it's changed me. We're both on it, we've both had a journey here, and we've talked about that a lot, how that's affected our life. But we're both very close now, and I talk so much to him, and he's such an inspiration to me. Yeah, he really is, because he's the one living this.
I feel like being a parent is like the biggest lesson that I've ever
without a
had.
doubt.
Like the biggest teacher is being a parent. I've learned so much.
Incredible to watch your child grow from a tiny baby, and the privilege of watching them grow. And then, obviously, sadly, sometimes along the way, some things can go very wrong. And those are usually things out of your control. So it's very hard when you're going through illness or things that affect your beautiful children. And that can hit at any time. It's a fear, I guess, we all live with.
Yeah.
But there are ways and means of living through that. You've just got to find a bit of inner hope. And that's why going for complementary therapy, or, doing what you need to do to find hope, that's why it's so important.
Yes.
Because you can never lose hope. That's everything in life.
Yes.
If you haven't got hope, you're not alive, really. So for me, that's what's so important. Keep looking for that.
Yeah.
That sort of hopefulness, that optimism.
And
If
following
you've
those things
lost
that
it,
bring
go
you
and get some
joy.
help. Don't put up with feeling that you don't have it. There is things you can do to get it back. So that's how I feel. Don't despair, because somebody will be able to help. And I hope maybe just listening to this conversation, maybe somebody will think that. They'll think, I've got to do something a bit different.
Oh, it's super, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
Oh,
much.
well, look, bless you both for giving me
It's
some time
absolutely, no, it's
on this
wonderful.
Friday and just inviting me to talk in such an honest and open way. It's not easy. These are hard conversations. This is certainly out of my comfort zone, but it feels good to talk to you both and to share in our experiences at this point in our lives.
Absolutely
We've had
does.
a lovely time talking to you today, Sarah. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much.
And maybe
Pleasure.
this will be a part 2.
We keep saying we're going to have a part
Well, it would be
twos.
lovely to catch up with you again, in
Wow.
12 months' time or something,
Yeah.
and just have
I
another conversation.
would be very welcome. I can tell you more about how things have gone this year,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure things will change, as they inevitably do.
Yeah.
But it's a privilege to know other women that are, fighting the fight and developing and learning and being brave,
Yeah. Yeah,
both being
being brave, that's it.
and,
Being
and that is what
brave.
we're doing. We're being
Yeah.
brave by showing up and trying to shape our lives. And while we're lucky, we live in a society that enables some of that, and we
Yeah.
have to fight for that.
Yeah.
There's so many women being oppressed all over the world. We are so lucky that we get a voice.
Indeed.
So I want to use whatever voice I have left to try and do a bit of good with it. You've got to be careful, haven't we? The world is rapidly changing, and we have to speak from a place of love, and care for one another. So that's that's what matters to
Well, that's
me.
what we're doing. It's what
Yeah,
we're doing. It's what we're doing.
yeah. So
Showing up.
let's keep
Yeah.
that front and centre
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the time being, please. So thank you both so much. So yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
No,
you
Say
so
goodbye.
Yeah.
And we'll keep in touch.
keep in touch, and I will, I hope our paths will cross again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.